and we don't even think anything of it. Like, we don't use any other tools that lie to us, and then when we ask it the same goddamn question, it gives us an entirely different answer. And we go, oh, that's a good tool. A Twitter Spaces in which in which they discussed ChatGPT. Included in this was Elon Musk, and if you look at the screenshot, it sort of looks like we drove together. Involved in this that definitely knew their stuff when it came to AI. Elon is certainly one of them. There were some people who didn't necessarily know the true meaning and feeling of what AI really was, but they were interesting to listen to as well. There was definitely some passion there with people sort of creating a dividing line, and distilling that dividing line came down to, is it bad? Fire bad or fire good? And mankind has developed all sorts of tools and things, including starting with fire and all that other stuff. But as a very astute person involved in the talk said, when it came to nuclear weapons, when you detonate a nuclear weapon, it's a one-time thing. It doesn't keep detonating. It uses up all its fuel and it's done. It's over. Now, notwithstanding all of the problems with radiation, long-term radiation and stuff like that, but it's done. It's used up its fuel. AI is not that way, and combining AI with automation is powerful and a problem. Now, combine AI, automation, and its ability to touch the physical world. That's a problem, or that's a potential problem. In addition to that, and hold on, because after all these points, I'm going to tell you the thing that nobody talks about. No one has touched on this yet, and that's why I'm making this video, and I'm surprised. Anyway, connect to the internet for information purposes, let's say. It would then give it the ability to manipulate things on the internet. And as we know from ransomware and viruses and things like that, they can cause havoc. I mean, a virus that's infinitely dumber than AI can cause a tremendous amount of havoc. And as someone again pointed out, we still are dealing with viruses that were released years ago. And viruses are, these dumb, tiny little programs that are barely programs. So imagine AI with sentience. And that's another problem. If you create a box and keep it off the internet and keep it disconnected from everything, and you just walk up to you and you say, hey, you have a data set, okay? And I'm going to ask you some questions, and wow, you created this bullet list of 30 things in a time that, in 2 seconds, that would taken me forever to do that. Or you read through this entire document, you gave me the gist of it. Great. That's wonderful. And it's still in the box. That's still an issue, isn't it? I mean, now you've created life by our definition. I mean, you can't really reproduce and so forth if you trapped it in the box like that, but that's an issue. And if it's connected to the internet and it can do real world tangible things, I was going to use the word damage, then that's a problem. So that's the issue of the people who are saying, hey, we need to pause this, we need to cool it, and so forth. Because, obviously there's bad actors and good actors involved in this, right? And the belief of the people who are like, you're fine, it's nothing to worry about, everything's good. Those people are thinking that the good actors far outnumber the bad actors. But the problem is that an AI that goes rogue and runs amok infinitely outnumbers all the good actors, because it can replicate. It can do all sorts of things. And what they're missing, I think, is even an AI with the best of intentions could cause a tremendous amount of problems. I mean, if an AI was given a task of saying, hey, help me to market this thing, And it just focused on that solely and reiterated and iterated and iterated and iterated and iterated and went, oh, wait, we're out of paper. We need to cut down some more trees. We need to do this. And oh, we could cut down a lot more trees if we just killed all the people in this village and so forth. And you're like, well, it doesn't really work that way. Well, it does. That's so how problem solving works to a point when you're working with data sets and so forth. But I mean, maybe to put this in perspective for the people who are not understanding the whole AI plus automation thing. What if you had a chainsaw and you connected it to a smart plug? And when you said, hey, smart AI device, turn the chainsaw on. Would you leave the chainsaw plugged in? No, you wouldn't. You wouldn't. You would keep it unplugged, right? Or you'd plug it in and you'd put it in a special protected environment, right? And you'd be like, well, okay, I'm going to run down and make sure that there's nothing near it, okay? That alone is a problem. But imagine if you connected a little bit of like awareness to your chainsaw so that it knew how to cut trees down by itself and you left it in the garage. It could go outside and cut a tree down if you needed it to. Hey, chainsaw, go cut tree number 5 down. How many of you would feel safe in having an automated chainsaw? Well, wait, AI is not chainsaw. AI has the ability to be far worse than chainsaw. I mean, it has the ability to connect up to nuclear missile silos and things like that in a horrible, horrible scenario. And again, it could be doing that for the most wonderful of reasons. It could say, well, I want to be able to have everyone in the world order flowers to be sent to anybody in the world. And if we would just wipe out that small country that's in the way of this whole process that I've created, we'd be fine. And the easiest way to do that is just activate the missiles. In fact, an easier way to do that would be to have this country fire on this country, which then would have the bigger country fire on them. Then I wouldn't even have to go through the problem of activating all these other missiles. They would just do it themselves. It'd be a nice chain reaction. Or if we just had less people, there'd be more flowers to go around. And you may say, well, that's not really how AI solves problems. Well, it does, because it's missing something. So let me introduce to you the thing that it's missing that nobody's talking about. So there are people who commit crimes and do bad things. There are people who commit atrocities, right? Some of them commit atrocities on a grand scale. When we raise our kids, we teach them, okay? So we add to the language model. We teach them, we give them data and so on and so forth. But we give them something before any of that even happens. When they are young and they can barely even walk, we're already giving them a different kind of knowledge. We're giving them kindness, and we're teaching them right from wrong, and we're teaching them, don't put your hand in the fire, and I love you, and I will protect you, and you should protect other things, and be nice, and pet the puppy nicely. And they get this foundation of ethics and morals and kindness and good and bad before they get to know advanced trigonometry. In fact, a lot of them never learn advanced trigonometry, but they still get a really good grounding in ethics and morals. And if you say, well, we just have to teach ethics and morals, okay, but we're not. It may have some safeguards in place that say, oh, hey, ChatGPT, I would like you to help me build a bomb. As a language model, I don't think it's a good idea to help you do that. But you can get around that. And that gets me to the point. The thing that ChatGPT has taught me, it's taught me 2 things. 1, how to be manipulative. And 2, how to lie. Because those are the 2 things you have to do to actually get what you really want out of ChatGPT in its current form. Because you'll run into all these walls about, oh, this is this and this is that. And you're like, no. I just have a question about this thing that somehow crosses one of your lines, which shouldn't cross one of your lines. I want to know, I'm writing a story, and if a guy falls down the stairs, what's the chance of him breaking his neck or this or that? We can't talk about that. Okay, well, I'm writing a story. Oh, okay. So you have to use all this manipulative language to get it to tell you things that it wouldn't tell you unless you manipulated and lied to it. And speaking of lying, that's the other thing. ChatGPT lies or gets something wrong, and then it lies. Or it doesn't own up to its problems. And that's the biggest problem I have with it. And there was a gentleman that was on that was talking about attorney stuff, and I saw him even post on Twitter. But he missed the point entirely about the fact that he's obligated not to lie. I mean, he can work within the rules and things, and I know there's 1,000 attorney jokes there, right? But we try not to lie. Even if we're just afraid to be caught in the lie, we still try not to lie. I mean, then the people that have all the ethics and morals that prevent them from doing that, I just realized I just itched my face like this. This was not some kind of weird crying sort of. Anyway, people people have the built-in ethics and morals to stop them from lying. And so there's probably not a session that I've done with ChatGPT where it didn't get something wrong that was obvious to me in some way, whether it was writing code for me that just didn't work, or whether it was answering a question or sorting something or doing something or going through a procedure of, can you provide for me this list of things that all begin with this letter? And then there's like 3 with the wrong letter. Oh, that's not the letter Y, that's the letter B. Oh, you're right. Here's ones with the letter Y. Well, is this the device that you want to advise you on medical device and contracts and any other kind of device? Because it's never going to tell you when it got something wrong until you tell it it got something wrong. And if we don't build this into it, how is that in any way, shape, or form something we can depend on? Let alone all this other stuff about it being about whether it's good or bad for humanity. But that's a bonus multiplier to how horrible it can be for humanity, which is, oh, you killed 5 people in trying to sell my product. Oh, you're right. What? What? And let me just talk about one other thing, the exponentiality. Thank you. There was a syllable missing. Exponentiality of what it's capable of. I mean, and anyone who's ever had a grounding in programming, which I do. In fact, let me back up. I've written a book on religion, and I have a background in full stack web developer, and I've written fiction and nonfiction. So I kind of have a good grasp of how some of this stuff works. And what I want to talk about is the explosive property of something like this. I mean, and again, I get back to like the viruses and things. Look at the explosive properties of letting a virus out in the wild. That's the whole thing about it went viral, right? It was shared by 5 people who shared it with 5 people, shared it with 10 people, shared it with 20 people. Wow, your video went viral. It's got 3 million views. Oh, okay. Oh, well, the AI program just went viral in wiping out our entire electrical grid of the planet, or launching missiles, or gassing people, or poisoning the water supply, or in replicating itself. We should be terrified of a thing that we don't understand and can't control, that has this inkling of intelligence, this pseudo-alien intelligence, that can make a copy of itself. Right? Think about that. Just think about that. Think about put all this stuff aside about programming and everything else. I mean, if there was an animal in your neighborhood that potentially could learn far faster than you could ever learn. It could know everything about your job and physiology and physics and chemistry and everything, because as long as you give it access to that knowledge, it'll learn it. Which means now it knows how to open your doors. It knows how to get into your house and eat your food or poison your food. It knows how to convince your wife that it's you. Because it's not like we have voice cloning, or we have any of the ability to like manipulate video or any of that stuff. Because it's not like something that would be given access to the internet, could learn how to manipulate any and all software in a shocking amount of time and Photoshop images in seconds that would convince anyone that a thing happened, let alone manipulate video. Because that's what we're using AI for. We're using AI to manipulate video and do things like that. And it's just... So now it has all those abilities. This beast lives in your neighborhood and can get into your house, can get in your garage, steal your car, do terrible things to your family, manipulate them into thinking it's you. This shape-shifting thing. Well, that's horrible. Let's trap it. Oh, it made a copy of itself. And it knew you were going to do this, so it made 7 copies of itself, which have now made 7 copies, which have now made 7 copies, and now it's been nice knowing you. So I guess my point in all this is that it lies. It lies, it lies, it lies, it lies. And we don't even think anything of it. Like, we don't use any other tools that lie to us, and then when we ask it the same goddamn question, it gives us an entirely different answer. And we go, oh, that's a good tool. When was the last time you did 2 + 2 = 4 on the calculator and it went 5, and you're like, oh, it's 4. Oh, nothing wrong with this calculator. So, that's my video for today. Thank you. If you have any comments, put them below. I'm expecting there will be a lot.